All right, y'all. It's the time of the day that you've been waiting for. It is the one show on air that will take you from the boardroom to the bedroom, from politics to the pulpit, and everything in between with your favorite friends. You are about to join the crew for Fresh Fire as we do what we do all together. Tune in.
Yo. Welcome to the crew, everybody, here on Smooth 88.1 WHOV, iHeartRadio, and all of the social media outlets. We hope that you're watching us as opposed to just listening to us, because if you're watching us, then you will know that all of us are here today. The whole band's in place. And by the way, I'm the guitar player. I just want you all to know. I don't know who the lead singer is yet. So when they do their introductions, maybe they can tell you what instrument they play. But I'm the guitar player, So we're glad that everybody's here. We are one day away, ladies and gentlemen, from Hampton University's Black Family Conference, and we're going to be there. We're going to talk to you about that. But first, let's do the introductions. Fresh off a rocky victory, ding, ding, ding. We got Commonwealth attorney Anton Bell is in the house. Proud of you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
And by the way, what instrument are you in the band? We just need to know. What
I'm the bass.
You the bass player?
I'm the bass player.
All right. That's good. We have relationship guru expert, putting people together and keeping them together. Alvin Lyons, doctor in the house. How are you, ma'am?
I'm great. I am great. Life is good, y'all.
Okay. And are you the singer? You an instrument? What you in the band?
I think I flex between the drums and being on the microphone. I'm not sure which one that is. It depends on the day and the song we're working on.
So you a Sheila E type, huh? I see what you doing. All right, we got Delegate Marcia Price in the house, but on the crew, she just Southeast, y'all. Southeast.
Hello, everybody, but Pastor.
How are you, Delegate Price? How are you?
I'm well. I took a couple of days off, and so I'm fresh, ready to get back at it. I'm doing well, thank you. And I think I would be on the piano.
You the piano?
Yep.
All right, you the piano player. All right, so we got a guitar, we got a bass, we got a drum soloist, and we got a guitar player. All right. Then we come into Bishop, and y'all, Bishop is out of town, but because he's committed to this show, he decided to zoom on in from the airports and check us out. What's up, Bishop?
What's up, people? It's good to be with you all. I've been in some travel, had a lot of training and stuff I've been doing. But listen, I'm gonna have to be with Alvy and yes, Anton. I'm both in early on the show, and so indeed, I'm gonna go back and forth between the drummer and the saxophone. That's where I'm gonna be right there.
Okay.
Drummer and saxophone.
All right, we got drummer, saxophone. We got two people on drums. What? We a go-go band? What we got going on here? What we doing?
Exactly, that part right there.
Last but not least, our producer extraordinaire, Jason Covington. What's up, Jay? How you, sir?
Hey, doing well. Blessed and highly favored with the agrinuciousness of the agrinute to the agrinuciousness of the day. Yes, God bless you.
And what instrument or vocal are you, please, sir?
You affectionately say I'm a piccolo player, but I'm not a piccolo player. I am the keyboardist, I am the MD, and I can play the drums as well. So we gonna go with that because you can be disrespectful at times.
But you are our favorite piccolo player, man.
Why you call him a piccolo player?
Don't let him in for that. Tom, we'll tell you offline.
Let's keep moving. That's during the break. We got you.
That's a long story. Listen, y'all, Alvy, I need you to talk to the people because I need you to remind them that tomorrow starts
the day
Black Family Conference, and you got a session, and we got a session. Talk to the people, Alvy.
Listen, you all want to call in sick, guys. I have told y'all this, okay? You look, I'm all for the American workforce, but let everybody know you need a mental health day to spend with the crew, okay? Invest in your mental health because it is going to be, you guys have talked about this forever. You've asked us forever. We have debated it. We've tried to figure it out. COVID tried to stop us, and it's official. You said, when are we going to be live again so that you can be part of the show with us? And the crew is going to be live at the Black Family Conference, which means the thoughts that you are having, that you're yelling in your car at noon while you are laughing with us and debating with us, we get to hear it too, guys. Yeah. So you got to be there. You want to be in this conversation because this particular event is going to, in essence, allow us to talk about all of the stuff we've talked about over the last year. You will get a chance to literally touch on virtually everything and anything that has been in it. And it's delicious. It's delicious already. And I'm just going to say, it's going to be so good. So I'm telling you in advance, you're welcome. It's going to be fabulous. It's going to be fabulous. So come on Wednesday, it starts. So that's tomorrow, y'all. Come on Thursday. There are multiple sessions. Kevin and I will both be in some sessions on Thursday. Some pastor sessions Kevin's going to do. And then I'm going to do a session for the Black woman, y'all. So please come be a part of that conversation. Got an excellent panel of incredible women. I won't get into all of the names right now because if you go to the website, you're going to find out some things. And then on Friday, come see us. Come spend the morning with the crew when we talk about both sides. Because in Ray's honor, it is always both and, y'all. It is always both and in our community.
This is why we love the show. We throw shots early. We don't hesitate. Listen. So the conference is free, y'all. It's free. Come on now. Listen, all you got to do is go to the website, hamptonu.edu. You can find the Black Family Conference, register. Even if you don't register, they're still accepting walk-ups. You can come on out. We'll tell you our sessions are going to be Friday at 10:20 in the morning in the Student Center. 10:20 in the morning in the Student Center. Y'all come see us because we're going to be going all the way in our session, and we want you to be a part of this. So y'all check out the Black Family Conference. Now, Ton, let's talk about the show today, man. You are our content creator. We couldn't do any shows the last 8 weeks because you was in court. Now you're back, so we're glad to have you back. What we talking about today, man?
I won't shank you today. So we're going to move on. So today we're going to talk about Drea Michelle. She is some type of social media, I'll just say social media celebrity, for lack of better terms that I'll use for her. We'll get into that in a minute. But she is 39 years old, and she is currently dating a 22-year-old NBA basketball player by the name of Jalen Green, who plays for the Houston Rockets. The problem is, on International Women's Day, she announced, well, I mean, the problem is right there, but I digress. More problems to add to that is that she announced on International Women's Day that she is pregnant now by this 22-year-old NBA player. And this player is the same age as her son, who is 22 years of age. And social media, the women in particular, which I found very interesting, are dragging her like they would drag out the trash to the dumpster. They dragging her and they're saying she was a deadbeat to that son that she had. And then she turned around and got pregnant by someone the same age. And so they are calling her a gold digger. They're calling her a predator. They're they're saying she's a deadbeat. I mean, there's all kind of stuff. The question is, y'all, though, men do this all the time.
Yes, they do.
And what is it that the women are extremely upset about this? Now, the brothers are not really commenting on it other than saying that Jalen can do whatever he wants to do. He's a grown man, blah, blah, blah. But why is it that when women do what men do, particularly when it comes to dating and marriage and I was going to say affairs, but I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to digress. But nonetheless, why is it that the women are the ones who are really upset? So
let me just add a nugget to this. So Ton, Gilbert Arenas, a former NBA player, has his own podcast. He's very successful. podcast, and he brought on one of his former teammates, a man named Nick Young. Nick Young goes on Gilbert's podcast and talks about Drea and Gilbert hooking up when he was still playing, right?
Yes.
And Gilbert is like, nah, man, don't go there, because she's a mom now and all that. And Nick kept going in and telling the story of some of the things that Drea used to do, which were not appropriate.
So let me kind of piggyback on that to give fuller context. One of the main reasons why they're dragging her is because Drea has a reputation for sleeping around and has been sleeping around for decades. And so, in other words, they think she is a garden tool. I'll leave it at that.
So let's ask the women first, respectfully, about how you both feel about when you heard this story. And so, Alvin, we'll start with you, man.
So there's a mixed bag inside of this. Mixed bag in the sense that I always struggle when there's a significant age difference between folks. I always struggle about that. And I know that there are lots of people who say age is just a number, but that's what pedophiles say too. So I really struggle with that. I do believe that you can, at certain ages, the number's not as big a deal, right? Because if you said to me that a 57-year-old man was dating a 40-year-old woman, I would think anything of it, really, to be honest with you. There is a place in which people come into full adulthood that those differentials don't really matter that much anymore. But when you do the math on it, and you imagine that when this person was 30, this other person was just a fetus, it does seem a little creepy, so I do feel weird about that sometimes, but but like I said, it's something about when it happens in the individual's life, when in the developmental process that happens. The second thing is, because I am a mom, and all y'all know, most of you know, that I became a mom very early because Matt and I got married so early. So our kids are in their 20s already. My son is 22. So, and I have 39-year-old girlfriends. So the idea that one of my girlfriends or somebody even in their peer group was sleeping with my son, I beat the brakes off of you. So I just I can't even wrap my mind around what in the world? My son? Not in this America. So but I get that he's legally not a child. He is legally an adult, but I still have to tell my son to pick up a sock sometimes. So I don't.
So from one sister to another, you ain't feeling this one.
Yeah, he's too young. He's too young for him to really be a partner to you. So it's not even, if I start to break it further away from just even when you really start to think about what a relationship is, and you're bringing a child, this isn't even just somebody you're sleeping with. You're now talking about bringing a child into the world in this dynamic. How can he really be a partner to you at this level in his life? And I'm not saying men can't mature. Obviously, Matthew and I had to grow up together, but I'm talking about the differential between where she should be as a 40-year-old woman versus where he is as barely a 20-year-old. That is a mother-son dynamic, basically. So you won't have an equal as a partner coming into this. And I think that the healthiest relationships are when both people can come to the table and be there to help the other grow in different kinds of ways. And that would be really challenging to see happen given this kind of mess that is happening. So I just can't, it's a no for me. It's a no for me.
All right.
I can see his face.
Sia, let me Sia, what you saying, Sia?
No, I mean, I say the exact same thing, but what I want to add to whatever this double standard is where the guys get away with it, it's gross when they do it too, for the same reasons, where it's like, what partnership are you getting from someone who literally just got a fully formed brain? Like, it just happened.
It's not fully formed till 25.
Oh,
So he still has a little bit to go.
so even
it's not even
further
done
makes
yet.
my point, right? Like, okay, so you can legally get a drink, you can legally serve our country. I get it. You're an
Right.
adult legally. But when we're
Right.
talking about issues of the heart, when we're talking about issues of the brain, when we're talking about issues
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
partnership versus power differentials,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to date my parents, right? Like, it's just, that's not what I'm looking for. And I'm also not trying to date children. And so
Right.
I'm just thinking of some of the 20 somethings that I know. And it's like, they need friends, they need mentors, they need guides, they need all kinds of things. And I can fill those roles. What I have never been interested in looking at any of them is being a romantic partner, because they
Right.
still act like children. They
Yeah.
absolutely still act like children. And that's
Yeah.
no knock. That's just the difference. Cause like it would be about the same, because like I'm close to Drea's age, right? It would
Yeah.
be about the same. And I'm just like, ill. Like just period, just ill. And I just wonder, because of some of the other things that we've heard about, not just her, but people in this situation, where I'm just like, where is the self-esteem? Where are the standards? And if you are mentally and like maturity wise on his level, sis, what is it that we can do to help you?
On? Right. What's
What is
going
it
on?
that we can do to help you age up? Because dating down is not the answer, just because you didn't have a chance to grow up. And so, we're gonna have to pray for this child, because it sounds like they both have some things, going on that don't necessarily make it conducive to a really healthy household. But whether it's gold digging, whether it's whatever, men or women, that 22-year-old is not old enough to be your partner.
But I don't think it was about partnership. I think it was about sex. And I think, old boy was getting his rocks off.
So
and unfortunately, he just wasn't wise enough to use protection. And somebody wasn't in his head telling him, you don't hook up, you can't make a whole housewife. And so you don't need to be out here messing around somebody who has been around from player to player to player to player. And she's been around the player and player to player. And then you go turn around and have a baby with her so that she can get some of your millions for free. I don't understand these NBA players and these NFL players who work their entire life to get to this one moment in their life where they are making millions upon millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in a contract. And then you're going to turn around and give a good chunk of it away to some skeezer. And I called her a skeezer. Some skeezer who is out here, who's been doing this forever and a day from 1990s. She's been doing this. Because Gilbert Arenas played in the 1990s, the late 1990s, the early 2000s.
2000.
She was doing, what was that? 2000?
2000, yeah.
Yeah. She's been doing this since then and has been around with all these different players.
But if we're going to call her a garden tool, please understand you can't hoe by yourself. So we're going to have to call them men hoes too. Because he was going after something, and that makes him a hoe too.
He was a dumb hoe, because he gonna turn around and have to give up the millions, because she ain't the one with the money. She's not the one with the money. He's the one with the money. So he was a dumb hoe. He was a dumb hoe. You're right, Sia. He was a hoe, but he was a dumb.
Ray, we know about this basketball life, Ray. And listen, Ray, we know that all kinds come through, Ray. Talk to us, man.
Listen, this is just a clear moment of exactly what Anton said, of the guys in the locker room saying, you can get at her, 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 you can get at her. And Anton is absolutely right on the other side of this, with he's just being a dumb garden tool. See, it just is what it is. And at least, if you're going to do something like that, do something with somebody that stands something to lose, and then put some ironclad stuff into place to protect yourself. Since we know about that, those kind of experiences like that, why don't you go get yourself some protection? Why don't you have some contraception that you can use to help keep this kind of situation? Because you're absolutely right. When you're dealing with somebody that is 20 years, 25 years, shoot, I even go at 19 years beyond. For me, I'm with Alvin and Sia Swan. This just reeks of, I'm gonna use this real strong word, pedophilia. Because when you start thinking about somebody that is 35 and somebody else is 15, and then they are 55 and somebody else is right at 34, 35, that age gap right there, you can't do nothing with that in your head. So I don't care how you dress it up. My term for this is dumb garden tool and pedophilia all at the same time.
There you go.
And y'all can say pedophilia, Jason. Jalen Green about to sign $100 million contract.
See, that's what makes me mad.
You can say what you want about age gap. 100 million plus. He about to sign in his next deal.
She's gonna get a good chunk. She's gonna get a good chunk of that.
She's about to get half of it.
She's gonna get a good chunk of that.
After taxes.
Y'all can call her all the guard tools she want, because she gonna buy them all. She gonna buy all the tools.
She said, I'm an expensive tool and it is diamond jeweled out at this point.
As Hov said, she's a rich one. She played the cards right and she did what she needed to do. So I don't understand why y'all are so upset with her. She did what I'm just playing. But hey, it is what it is.
But I mean, like, you gotta think about it like this. It's like it's an IRA plan, as in I robbed his A. Okay, like that's what basically happened in this. Okay, I robbed his A because this is her retirement plan. This is her investment plan at this point. Have a baby with someone who's going to ensure that the rest of your life is paid for. So it's strategy for her. Go ahead, Anton.
I'm not upset with her, y'all. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm not upset with her.
Yeah.
I'm upset with him. And I'm upset with anybody who called themselves a mentor or someone who would have been a parental figure or someone who would have been in a position of influence in his life trying to guide him. I'm upset with them because we don't even have to be in the NBA and we know that women are going to throw themselves at these athletes. We know this. We know Magic Johnson kind of told it early back in the 90s when he revealed that he was HIV positive about the women who would just throw themselves. They would wait at these arenas and wait at the hotels, find out where they were staying for the night, and will wait there and will prey upon them, hoping for an opportunity to sleep with them, hoping for an opportunity to either be able to get into a relationship with them or at least get pregnant. And here's the thing. Many of these women didn't even want to be in a relationship with them. They just knew being in a relationship with them would increase their opportunity to just get pregnant. I just need to get pregnant by you so that I can have an easier life. And that's the problem that I have with him, not her. Because she's playing the game that she's been playing since the 2000s. So she know what she's doing. I'm talking about him and those who should have been around him as a young person and educating him and saying, look, dude, every open pair of legs is not an invitation for you.
I agree. So let me ask the ladies again, because I'm curious at y'all's response, because y'all really went in on her, right? When we all know there's dudes out here who are 39 chasing 22-year-old skirts all day, every day, right? And it doesn't appear that there's the same vitriol if a 39-year-old dude got a 22-year-old pregnant. Would we be having the same reaction, response to the guy as we would to what Drea is getting now? Let me hear from the women first, John.
If it's not matching, it needs to be even worse. This like everything that Alvian kicked us off with the imbalance and why I'm going in on her. Yes, I'm being super judgmental, so Lord forgive me. But why I'm going after her is the money. Okay, I get that. People go after money. But this is still effectively, developmentally, the age differential. This is a child. I don't care that it's a rich child. I don't care that it's a rich child that a lot of people are throwing their parts at. Like, we still have to understand what a 22-year-old has to offer. And so then we go and say, okay, it's only the money. If it was flipped and it was a 22-year-old broke girl going after a 39-year-old man's money, and he said, okay, like, it's still ew. And so all of I think the common denominator in how some of these things go down is it's all about the money. And if we're not going to talk about how that is already just bankrupting families and like how going after money even makes you even in these senses makes you even broker because it's breaking the insides, right, of the things, like that is still gross. It's still gross. So I want to be very clear. It needs to be equal, if not worse, vitriol coming after people like.
Let me play the other side for Radio Alvin just for a moment. So
let's hear the other side.
Play the other side. And I, listen, I'm in agreement, but we got to have some banter to make radio good.
Let's have some banter.
So you have, if he's 22, you got 22-year-olds doing the same thing. You got 25-year-olds, as Tom said, waiting after games at the hotel for the players to come back. You got 30-year-olds doing it. You got 35-year-olds doing it. Why we mad at her? Because she's 39. Everybody's doing it, wanting to get pregnant. It don't matter the age. It just so happened he picked her. So why are we mad at her when there's a whole laundry list of others who would be happy to have his baby at any age?
So my thing is unique probably because I have a kid that age, right? And the fact that you're the same age as some of my girlfriends, and you would have been around my kid when my kid was an infant. And I'm not saying she was around him when he was an infant, but my point being, like, these same girlfriends held my child, my baby, in terms of the differential in age between them. So I struggle from a mommy perspective that you could be thinking about this individual. Now, I understand, let me be clear. As a mommy, I struggle. As a woman, I understand how beautiful a man can be at any age that's an adult. Okay, I'm not talking about legally a child, but that's an adult. Especially a lot of men these days, the 20-somethings, they look older than their age also. So like, I can understand that you could find him beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I get that. It's fine if that's your type. But the thing is that you have a kid the same age as the man you're sleeping with, right? Like, I have a thing, even when men do it, I really, really question you. When you have a child, female child, that is the same age as the woman, or even close, like they could have been in high school together, that is near the same age as the woman you are sleeping with, I am 100% sure that you are a perv on the low. Like, these little girls used to run around in their pajamas with bunny slippers in your house. And you mean to tell me that just because now she's legally old enough that it makes it different? I struggle with that. Now, for men who don't have a daughter, it's easier for those men to not make those connections because they just see a beautiful young woman, and they don't see it as a baby. They consider her old enough. I remember a dude saying once, if there's grass on the lawn, you can mow it. I was like, sir, I hope there are cuffs to find you. Okay, like men will say some crazy stuff. I mean, I'm present company excluded. I have heard some men say some crazy stuff over the years, just as soon as women are legal. So it's gross no matter who's doing it. From my perspective, when you're talking about a differential quite that significant, and he's so young. He's not 35 with a 40-something-year-old. He is 22 with a woman who is almost 40.
So let me hop on in that, because see, for me, it's the predatory behavior. If the reason why we get mad with men who do it to young girls is because typically it is predatory in nature, but typically in that situation, it's the man that has the money and not the young girl. Right. And it's the girl that's trying to get the money. Like, for instance, do y'all remember when Anna Nicole Smith, when she married the oil tycoon Marshall, he was 89 years old, and she was 26 years old. And she said when he died that he promised her half of his fortune. So she married him for his money. because the man couldn't do nothing. He
What
89
else?
years old.
What
I'm sorry,
else
he
would
ain't.
you be marrying him for? Let's
Right.
be serious.
But how about this? He tricked her, because a trickster is a trickster is a trickster. And
Yeah.
he said, look, you ain't getting none of this money.
Nothing.
He
Yeah.
left her, he got what he wanted out of her, and he left her with zero. He gave all his money to his youngest son. $1.6 billion went to his son. She got zero. And I remember when she filed that suit trying to get money from his estate, and the court sided with the son, and she got nothing, because that was the reason. Everybody knew that was the reason why she married him.
100%.
So
You
she
never know
left.
that man. Yep.
She got
Yep.
nothing out of that.
Good
Nothing.
for her.
It's
So
the
let me ask y'all
predator
this.
behavior.
Well, let me just give one example too, because I think we get tripped up sometimes when it's, woman versus man. If there was a, HBCU cheerleading competition where there was a 22-year-old girl and 40-year-old dudes were hunting them down in the hotel, like, I should hope that we would all be like, ew.
You
right?
don't think that happened? You don't think
No,
that's
no,
happening?
I think it does, because even for those that weren't cheerleaders, like, there has been no point, and I think any girl's life where she hasn't had to learn how to not entertain foolishness from older men. Like, that's just the reality of our existence. But what I'm saying is, like, the predatory nature of it, I think, can cut both ways. But if you're only upset when the dude does it, but you're not upset when the guy does it, or if you're only upset when the guy does it, but not when the woman does it, then I would just invite someone to investigate their own biases, because it's gross either way. If
It
it's
is gross, but it's not. Let me say this, Tom, real quick. It is gross on both sides, but it doesn't play out that way.
No.
It does not. Because, Jason, you know this to be true. You in the school system. If you do something and it comes out, even if it's a hint, right? It's perceived very differently than if you were a female counselor. And it's gross on both sides. Don't get me wrong. It's wrong on both sides, but it doesn't play out the same way. We all know that, right?
Yeah, and no, but a perfect example of that, me being a male counselor, I don't entertain, like, because I'm in pre-K through 8, so I don't entertain any female student in my office. We go to, we have a family engagement specialist. She's a female. My other female counseling colleague, we do that. But on the other side, my female counselors have male students in their office, and I necessarily don't have to be there. But for me, as for me in my house, if I'm gonna have a female student with me, I'm gonna have at least 1 to 2 witnesses, and it's women. I don't have other men with me, because I need another female to be able to speak to. What was the conversation? What was because I had a girl come to me, hey, you gonna have lunch with me? Like, no, I'm not gonna have lunch with you. We can have lunch with Miss X, Y, and Z. And then they're like, oh no, I'm good.
But
Don't do it.
But this is how it plays out in real life. Because there are those double standards where absolutely, Jason, you need to be protecting yourself like that, right? But women should also be protecting themselves like that. And we should all be being careful, because there's a woman, and I think it was in Florida, who has 23 counts of now messing with elementary and middle school students. And she's pregnant by one of the middle school students. Now, when we are not protective of all children, but despite whether it's a man or woman, then stuff like that was going on long enough for them to get 23 victims, right? Because we're expecting, because women are moms and women are sweet and women, but it is that very double standard that is also endangering our children. We should be wary of all adults, because some of these adults are crazy pants and they're doing very bad things. Now, would I ever let my child or godchild or nephew be alone with a male ministry figure, present company excluded? No, because statistics show me that they don't know how to act. But now the statistics are showing us is teachers, it's counselors. So everybody needs to be weary and on guard. No one is safe. Like we're just looking at the statistics. No one is safe to be around your children.
Well, it's deeper than that, Sia. There is, the data will show you that female teachers who engage in that, the likelihood of someone telling is less likely than that is of a male who is the teacher or the counselor and a female child, because because of culture, the young boys are groomed to believe like I'm having sex at a young age. So that's a badge of honor for me.
Yeah.
I'm not telling anybody that I'm having sex with her. I want to have it as much as I possibly can. So they're not going to tell many times. Now, what trips them up is they tell a friend bragging about it, and the friend may tell someone and it comes out secondarily, but it was never their intent for it to come out. Because for them, they getting their rocks off. And so they're happy. And so that's the double standard that goes a little deeper, which is for female, many times we see them as victims, but we don't see young boys as victims. And they are victims just as much as any young girl can, because that is traumatic when you introduce a young kid to sex when they are not ready mentally and emotionally or spiritually to handle that type of weighty stuff. No. So that's how deep that goes.
And when we perpetuate this, because I'm sure you've seen it, Alvin, right? Like when we perpetuate genderized views of who can be a victim and who can't, that like, why don't we just take gender away from it? And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, gross is gross. Whether it's accepted or not, gross is gross. And so, Avi, I would just say, how have you seen this play out in relationships?
So it's interesting that you say that, because I was literally going to say that part of part of the problem is that as a society, we have oriented towards men naturally taking care of younger women. So because men are supposed to be protectors and providers, they were protectors and providers of younger women, because women couldn't take care of themselves and didn't know how to do this. And, as if we were stupid, so you always needed a man to be able to make that better for you. So even if we go back just to our grandparents' generations, there were some very large age gaps between the grandfathers and the grandmothers because of the way that our society oriented. And if you go to other countries, it's even worse still to today, that you've got 40-year-old men, and their women are 18, 20 years old in some of these other countries, because that's who's going to provide for you and take care of you. And these women are having babies. And Africa, some of the stuff that we've had to deal with in Africa against the predatory nature of men with young girls, and how early they're being forced to become moms in some villages and spaces. So there's that factor that's involved. The other factor too is when in our society, in history, when we wanted to make sure young boys knew what to do in bed, they went to older women to teach them what they needed to do in bed. Their fathers would take them to meet with said women, who would be the ones that they would test out and learn how to touch a woman, how to engage with a woman, all of those things, so that when they were with a woman their own age, or the woman they were actually going to be with, they were experienced going into those things. And it was part of the rite of passage many years ago. So we are a society that nurtured some of the stuff that we're still dealing with the relics of to today. And then let us not forget, Mary Kate Letourneau, she came out of jail to sleep with Billy Falau, I think was his name, multiple times, got pregnant each time she came out of jail, said she wasn't going to touch him again, got pregnant with another baby. I mean, they ended up building a life together when he was officially old enough to be with her legally. And then she ended up dying from cancer several years later. But she left her husband and her 4 children for a 13-year-old by the time she was officially pregnant. But she had been seeing him for quite some time, and she was his 6th grade teacher, I think is what it was. And he pursued her. But because she was lonely inside of her marriage, the same stuff you don't deal with makes you vulnerable to all kinds of things. And the Bible talks about it. To the hungry heart, every bitter thing is sweet. So if we're not dealing with the things that are going on the inside that are feeding our decision-making, we will screw stuff up. Fannie Willis, she almost lost the best case that any prosecutor will get the opportunity to actually be part of, behind, not predatory, but behind the decision-making connected to who she was with romantically. I say that only to say that over and over again, we make decisions for things that are coming from that. When you talk about mental health all the time, Sia, the stuff we don't deal with on the inside is guiding and affecting decisions at the lowest to highest levels. And to Anton's point about this baby about to lose millions of dollars because he didn't have good counsel and nobody was there to help guide and mentor him. What that stuff on the inside, I want to try this, I want to experience this, I don't think it's going to cost me anything. It's going to cost that baby all kinds of stuff. It's all of this stuff. So we see so many layers of this in so many different directions.
And Ray, let me come to you, man, because Jalen ain't came out. He said nothing, right? And to Todd's point, Ray, to Todd's point, there might be some dudes out there in Jalen's circle like, yo, man, you messing with a 40-year-old dude. You all right? He don't see himself as no victim, man. That's kind of how this goes, right? And it just seems like everybody's going at her because maybe, just maybe, Ray, people ain't comfortable hearing sugar mama. Maybe they just the sugar daddy, right?
They are okay with hearing sugar mama. Sugar mama has not necessarily been, if I can use this terminology, demonized to be predatory.
No,
because when you think about, later on this week, shameless plug, as we get prepared for the Black Family Conference, we have a lot of duplicitous stuff that goes on with inside of our family constructs. So when you think about the aunt that's 25 and she's kissing the 12-year-old or the 45 or the 60-year-old grandfather or uncle that's grabbing after the little 14-year-old girl, like if we think it's cute kind of stuff. All of this stuff is a repetitive cycle that continues to happen with inside of our family dynamics because we will have, we'll have a lot to say about quote unquote Chester Fester, but we won't have a lot to say about Sugar Mama, and both of them are wrong in terms of dealing with the dynamics in regards to this. So for Jalen, he's right in the middle of feeling like he's the champ in all this because he's got a woman that's 40 years old, and women and their sexual peak around that 40 and 41, 42-year-old time period. So for him, he winning in his mind and in the locker room mind.
That's exactly what it is. Because dude is like, yo, you good, man.
It goes deeper. Y'all missing a huge piece. Y'all missing it. I need y'all to look back in your memory bank. What was Jalen dealing with about 5 months ago? He was dealing with social media dragging him because they were saying that he was gay. They said that he was doing all types of things with his teammates. And they were dry humping and they were doing all kind of just antics. And he was dealing with that for a while. And then the next thing we saw was Drea getting pregnant. I'm telling you.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
I'm telling you.
All right, well, let me ask y'all this.
What I think is going on.
PR stunt.
There you go.
And for $100 million.
Yes,
if you don't want to be gay, it would be worth the money. It would be worth the sacrifice. Yeah.
There we go. I'm telling you what I think is going on.
I didn't know that.
This boy got her pregnant on purpose. I think he got her pregnant on purpose.
That's a different dynamic, though.
I think he got her pregnant on purpose.
That's a different dynamic because that was also true for, isn't it Terry McMillan who had the same situation where she was with a really young dude and it turned out he was gay, but he was trying to deny being gay. So he got with her and she was in love and thought it was a real relationship. And he was just, she was basically his beard.
All right, so let me ask y'all this because we're almost out of time. I got a question here. Like, okay, he's 22, right? Anthony Edwards is another NBA player who just recently impregnated a stripper. And he got caught texting, the text messages leaked out that he wanted her to have an abortion. And he had to go backtrack and apologize, So nobody's saying anything about that, right? So my question is, and this is for the ladies, I guess, first. See, I'm going to start with you. Okay, if he's 22, how old is to the point where you start getting like, ooh, like is it 8? If she was 30, would you be all right?
I was gonna ask that question.
If she's 31, you gonna be all right? Like, is it a 10-year gap? Is it because of 17? So
what's the threat? What's the threshold?
What's the threshold for you?
So this is just for me, and I'll be very honest, it is kind of arbitrary, but less than old enough to be the parent. So like 15 is kind of pushing it, but more than 15 to me is like the way that the world is going now, you're old enough to have it. Like if you hung out and you have the same music, the same taste, the same memories as the parental figure. Because I'm even thinking right now, if you went to Huntington High School with my daddy, please stop saying hey to me in the grocery store. I'm very clear. And I'm a full-grown adult, right? But it is just kind of like, all right, I think 12-ish, but then you just kind of look at the world, right? 22 and 32 still sounds real wild to me. And I still think it's because of how young a 22-year-old is. Now, once you get to that, what you say, 25, where your brain is actually fully formed, then I think it starts to get different. Once you're in your mid-20s and then you're well into your 30s, I think that's a full adult.
Me too.
But if you look at some of the decisions, not even just this one, but some of the decisions that 22-year-olds are making on a daily basis, like they are still children, and legally they are adults because we need them to go to war, we need them to be in the workforce. So legal does not always equate moral, right? And so I definitely think once you're 25 and older, it starts being different. But even 10 years older than a 22-year-old, I'm still wondering, like, there's nobody else out here for you, sis. Like, there's nobody, you're not good enough to be on your own just for a little until you can find somebody. Like, it's
so help me understand here. Didn't y'all cheer for Stella? Right? Didn't y'all cheer for Stella in the movie when she got a groove back? Didn't y'all cheer for Stella?
It's like, who are you talking about?
When the movie Stella got a groove, Angela, what's the name? Angela Bassett.
I didn't like that movie. I'm gonna be honest.
She had a younger.
No, I was pretty sure he was grown, wasn't he?
He was grown, but there was still a significant age difference.
Yeah, but to see his point.
But I'm talking about.
Point, I agree with Sia in the fact that, like I said previously, once you hit a certain age, you are truly legitimately, not just legally, but legitimately, we're talking about mental maturity to be seen as an adult, to actually be more of an adult. So to me, 25 is the age when I think people are legitimately grown-ups. And whatever decision you want to make after that, it is what it is. You're 25 years old.
So I just had to look it up.
But it's a reality that's associated to me. I can wrap my mind around it. And once you hit 30, I don't care what you do after 30 for the most part in terms of the decisions that you make. It doesn't mean there aren't some things that are still gross, because if I see a 30-year-old and a 60-year-old, I am still grossed out by that. I'm sorry.
So for the record, Stella and Winston, I had to look it up, were 40 and 20, and I knew there was a reason why it did not sit right with me. That movie.
Everybody was cheering for Stella.
I thought he was older. I honestly didn't know. I thought he was older.
Also, her son was younger, so I wonder if that did make a difference for.
Yeah, like because the kids were little. Like, so
yeah, if they were hanging out with a 20-year-old son and the 20-year-old boyfriend, I wonder if it would have been. But it's
see, this is my confusion.
It's still gross.
Y'all cheered for Stella. You cheered for Olivia Pope. Y'all cheered for these dysfunctional situations. Now you coming up here and saying that it's all wrong.
Keep something in mind. When, just for the record, I mean, just in terms of present company, Thea just said she didn't watch it. I remember liking the movie, but I was at the age liking the movie that Taye Diggs was hot to me. So like, because Taye Diggs was older than I am, right? Like, so my brain wasn't processing their age difference per se, because to me, Taye was just so cute. And he was the older guy that I thought was cute. I didn't see him as a kid because he's older than me, because I was younger when the movie came out. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think that your frame of reference is definitely shaped by when you're seeing these things and how you understand them. I was nobody, I wasn't somebody's parent back then.
Okay, so give me a number for you, Alden. So I think Sia said at
15,
22, 10 years,
15
that's it.
Yeah, 10 is like where Sia was. 15 was like the maximum. I'm with Sia. I'm actually probably about the same. My absolute requirement is that, and this is assuming everybody's an adult, that there's no possible way that your kids, if you have children, your same gender child and a same gender to the partner. So if you're a woman and you're dating a younger man, your son could not possibly have been anywhere around socially the person's age range that you are interested in dating. Otherwise, I will see that as predatory. You guys they can't be anywhere around. You could have never possibly been in the same school or anything like that. Like, that's out of the question.
Okay.
But I would say that, like, my threshold is probably 15 years, because if you're 30 and the other person's 45, that wouldn't freak me out at all. So, like,
freak me out because they're older. But when
older.
You're at
Depends on when you start.
A 21-year-old,
then it feels different.
Still a lot of years.
I would agree with you. I think it's once you get past a certain point is when those numbers start to change. Because also keep in mind, Kev, once you hit to a certain point, we're in the workforce together. We are peers together. So things start to shrink when I might even be your boss and I'm younger than you. Like, so that starts to change things when, as two professionals, you're two attorneys, and you might be 30 and he might even be 50, but you guys are working on the same case. You feel like social equals in a different kind of way when that happens, and you start to see some of that a little bit differently. I'm still sensitive, but I could get it.
So y'all change your mind on Stella now? I'm just asking. I
didn't even realize.
Y'all, I was not a fan of either.
I just want to make sure now. You're live on radio. I just want to make sure. Did you change your mind on Stella?
No, I'm going back to look to see how old I was, because I remember not being bothered. So I need to know how old I was when this movie came out.
All right, Todd. What is your age range, sir? I know legally in court, but for you personally, what's your comfort level?
It's not a comfort level. To be quite honest with you, it's really each situation is just independent. But I'm more so looking at. I don't look just at age. I actually also look at economic, social status, because I'm always looking to see, is there some type of motivation that's impure? So I'm not just looking at the age. I'm looking at whether there's somebody that's trying to come up, or somebody's trying to use somebody for either their money or for their status, or just use them for the platform that they may have so they can get to the next level. And that I have a problem with, because with this Drea whole thing, it's not that they're seeing each other. It's because when she got pregnant, now it became more predatory to me, because I know what that legally signifies. That legally signifies a lifelong relationship where he's going to be coming out of his pocket with a tremendous amount of money. And I'm talking about millions of dollars for child support. And she's going to go about her business and get on the next jump off. And when that's over with, she's going to get on the next jump off. Because guess what? Now I got a safety net. I'm good to go no matter whether this relationship works or it don't work. I'm going to get on to the next one. And I have a problem with that. And it works both ways in whatever the relationship may be. Like with Anna Nicole Smith. She thought she was going, that was her jump off until he tricked her. And then he died, and she found out she won't get nothing. She got jack. So that's my problem. I'm dealing more so about the differences in the socioeconomic factors that play out in these relationships that makes one more of a predator than the other.
So if she had the money at 39 and he did not have the money at 22,
then I would think he was a predator.
You would think he's a predator? I
would think if she had his money, because with that age difference, come on, man, there is a whole lot that the two of you can't talk about. You can't relate to. I'm sorry. I don't care. There may be a minor exception to that, but for the most part, there's a whole lot of differences between the two of you. Now, if both of them had money and they were dating, then I would not look at it as a predatory situation. I would look at it as, okay, he trying to get his rocks. She trying to get her rocks. Okay, there it is.
It's just two adults hot.
It's just two adults. Keep it moving.
Yeah.
And I would have been fine with that. It's just the predatory piece to it that thing bothers me. That bothers me because I know that this kid worked this entire life to get to the position that he's at now, about to sign a $100 million contract, and he's going to have to give over a chunk of that money throughout his life for that kid that's going to come as a result of poor choices. And I'm mad as all get out.
I hope that honey pot was magic. I hope that honey pot was magic.
No, it is not magic. Can I just tell you that? Because that honey, let me just go ahead and just say, no, it is not magic. No, I'm gonna go right there. It ain't magic. It ain't worth your future. No honey pot is worth your future.
Okay? You heard of sunshine?
I don't care about sunshine. I don't care about sunshine.
Where's your mother?
We've had this conversation before. We've had this conversation before on the barbershop. We've had this conversation before. No honey pot. Look, no honey pot and no cucumber. It's gonna be worth all that. Okay? It ain't gonna be worth all that. Don't sign away your future.
So are y'all saying, and Jay, I want you to answer this too. Are y'all saying there's no situation other than them equally having money where this is not considered for you all a predatory situation?
For me, no.
No, there's nothing here other than that. There cannot possibly be two people who happen to actually want to be in a relationship. And it's
possible. I mean, like, I'm not saying it's impossible, because if you looked at Celine Dion and Renee, who she was married to, Renee was like 30 years old, something like that, like older than her. And she loved him till the minute he died. And I mean, like, but it's not uncommon relative to their cultures. Like, so there's certain things that are just different for some people. So I'm not saying.
Let me cut across the field, Al, because we're almost out of time. I'm just
sorry. Go ahead.
So are you saying then that this is predatory because it's Black people?
No. I'm not saying it's predatory because Black people.
You just said Celine is 30 years younger. Nobody said nothing to her.
But no, I'm not saying it's predatory because they're Black people, because Black people come in other cultures, and that would be a different conversation also. Yeah. I am saying it's predatory because he is the same age as her son. That is what is problematic for me. Like, so there's the power differential, and you were somebody's mommy, he's a child, relative to the fact that you're somebody's mommy who is the same age as the child you are making a baby with. And you also know you'd have a problem if one of your girlfriends the same age as you was having a baby with your child, assuming you were any kind of mom. So, I mean, like, but I'm not saying they can't legitimately be into each other. I'm not here to be able to defend that or debate that. I'm just saying this is not starting in a good place, for sure.
Wouldn't have a problem. She wouldn't have a problem because they said she was deadbeat. So she probably wouldn't have any emotional attachment to it.
I'm sorry.
So I'm like, you couldn't raise your child when you had one, and now you about to have another.
Yeah, like she about to raise her.
Afford a nanny.
She about to raise her man.
Can I interject? This is the reason why y'all need to see us this Friday in 20. Because when the conversation get gooder and gooder and gooder, it's time to go. So I need y'all to meet us at this family conference on this Friday at Hampton University. It's free. You don't have to pay anything. We just want you to register. Albion Lions and Pastor Swan, they're doing something on Thursday. But we, the crew, will be at my alma mater, AG.
And mine too.
Yes, the Hampton University on this coming Friday, March 22nd at 10:20. Don't be there. Like the pastor say, meet me there.
And on that note, we got to run because we way out of time. So appreciate y'all for today. Thank you for tuning in. Come check us out Friday. It's going to be off the chain. Until next time, be blessed to be a blessing to someone else. Peace.
Okay, I hope you loved it as much as we did. Thank you for joining us for another fire show for the crew. Listen, you can catch us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and any streaming platform that you're using for your podcast. Share with a friend, expand the family. Listen, we're trying to do this thing with all of you as often as we possibly can. We're looking forward to you joining us again for our next show.